Yo, what's up? Welcome to the Dissection, a Numbers with Jacari series where we're dissecting the numerology behind some of your favorite artists and musicians. I'm your host, Jacari, conglomerated numerologist and astrologer, but you can call me Ace. And in this episode, I'm very excited for this one. We're dissecting the numerology behind Isaiah Rashad, not only the most recent drop, The House is Burning, but also some of the earlier shit just to get a little taste, a little vibe. So if you're liking what you're hearing, make sure you share it on your socials and tag me at URSLab or at Numbers with Jacari on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Head over to URSLaboratory.com to check out the interactive blog post or tune into YouTube and watch it live. But also all the direct links are in the description / comment section of this video / episode. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now listen. listen. We talked about some psychic ones. We talked about some psychic twos. What are the other ones? I think we've done a psychic. We've done a psychic 3. Yeah. We've done a couple of different numbers. I think we've also done a psychic 4. But what we haven't done yet is a psychic 7. Isaiah Rashad was born May 16th, 1991, making him a psychic 7 simplified from a 16, a destiny 5 simplified from a 32, and a name number exalted 1 simplified from a 28. He was born on a Thursday in a universal 2 year and a universal exalted 7 simplified from a 25 month. I love these numbers. I do this every time. I always love the numbers because I love numbers. So it tracks. But I really love how his numbers are sitting. Now, one of the interesting things about 7 is it gets the rap of just being the spiritual number of it gets the number of spirituality, and that's it. But there is so much more to this number, and we're going to talk about it a little bit because psychic 7, so what else are we going to do? Now, the difference between a psychic 7 and a destiny 7, this themes of 7s would still play out in a destiny number, but with a psychic number, it's more at your core, whereas a destiny number is more about like experiences, patterns, and stuff like that play over a long period of time, whereas your psychic number is more of just like your psyche of who you are. So it's easier to see the set traits of a 7 in a psychic 7 versus a destiny 7. Like, I know I have friends that are psychic 7s, but I also have friends that are destiny 7s. And the 7 is there, yes, but it's very dominant for the psychic 7, whereas it's a little bit more in the background for the destiny 7s. So it's very interesting to see how things play out. Now, mind you, the supplementary number of that psychic number is very key because you can have a pure 7, somebody who's born on the 7th, 7 simplified from a 16, like Isaiah Rashad, or somebody who's born on the 25th, which is an exalted 7. So those each have different supplementary numbers, which makes the way that they'll play out a lot different. Now, with his psychic 7, that's supplementary 1 and 6, 1 being ruled by the sun, 6 being ruled by Venus, and also then 7 being ruled by Neptune in the south node. This is a powerful creative punch, powerful creative punch. So like I said, 7 is ruled by Neptune in the south node. So there's this originality, this individuality, but also this inspiration and creativity, a desire to create something because Neptune is boundless, whereas the south node can highlight a little bit of withdrawal or foundation even. So that in both of the being in this number 7, creating that 7 energy makes a very interesting blend because you're everything and nothing. You're perfect and imperfect. You're you're just multiple sides of everything, making 7 very, very complex, and also puts it in a position where it's very misunderstood. So where 7 is striving for something perfect, it's probably not going to be perfection in regards to societal standards. It's going to be perfect in regards to 7's point of view, which makes sense in regards to like other numbers, but there's other numbers that are more dominantly attached to the way that society runs, whereas 7 is just like, I'm here because I'm here and y'all bitches just gotta deal with it. Like, I'm living for me. I don't know what y'all are on, but I'm doing what I want to do because I want to do it. Now, 7 is a very naturally perceptive and aware number, one of my favorite things about it. So this puts it in a position where it peeps everything. Like, if you ask a 7, did they see that? Yes, the fuck they did, and they was probably not finna say shit about it. Probably was not gonna say it. Like, 7 is a very introverted number as well. It sees everything. It's very sensitive as well, which is probably why it doesn't engage a lot. So like, you'll find people who have 7s may be some of the coolest, dopest people out there. Like, they are so unique, so in their own world, and like something that you've really never seen before, but they don't like people. Like, they're just like, I can take people in small doses. Like, small doses of people, yeah, we got that. But more than that, not so much. Don't really want to do that. So when it comes to having that as a psychic number, that is your approach to things, especially with that supplementary 1 and 6, 1 again being ruled by the sun, 6 being ruled by Venus. That 1 allows this start. It allows this beginning, and also this adds to the complexity of that 7, because 1 highlights a change, also a clarity, and also a potential, which 7 also highlights a level of potential and possibility, but they're different. 1 is the beginning of the potential. 7 is just the awareness of the potential per se. So it's like 7 can create something. It's just dependent on if they will start or not. Whereas 1 is the beginning of that potential, the beginning of that possibility. So that in creating that 7 gives Isaiah Rashad and anybody who's born on the 16th the possibility to not only create something incredible, whether it's artistically or otherwise, and not only create it, but also have the possibility for it to go as far and wide as it possibly can, because Neptune, the ruler, is boundless. It's formless. It does whatever. It's everything and nothing. So that creating that blend is just one beautiful, and then that added with that supplementary 6 as well. 6 is ruled by Venus, and that adds a level of grounding, which is very interesting, because 6 is the number of material per se. It's very materialistic, and not in necessarily a bad way. It just likes the physical sensory things. It likes to feel, it likes to touch, it likes the pressure type shit. Like, it likes the touch. Like, it likes to feel things. But like 6, ironically enough, in comparison to 1 and 7, 6 can be a very social number. 6 can be introverted. Now, don't get me wrong, 6 can be very introverted, but it can be like, oh, hey, like, I want to vibe with you. Like, let's catch it up. Let's like vibe. Let's chop it up and all that stuff. And then it can be fun. It can be fun. Now, I would love this Psychic 16 because of all of the complexity that we just went over. It's very diverse in its approach to literally everything. It's not one and done. It's not one thing either. You can get a lot out of this number because of the complexity. So there is a creativity that can come very naturally. There's this imagination. There's this explorative side as well, because it's like, okay, well, let me try this, let me try that, and just being everywhere and nowhere all at the same time, because that's just how 7 rolls. It's a very dope number to have. That Destiny 5 simplified from a 32, really, really love that. It adds that intellectual space that 7 also holds, because 7 likes to be in the know. It likes to know what's going on. It likes to understand. It likes to research and pinpoint and really understand whatever it is. It's a very devoted number, as is, I want to say, I think 2 is also a very devoted number, which he does have supplementary in both of his destiny and name numbers. So that devotion of 7 is amplified by that supplementary 2 in the other 2 numbers, which works really well for him. Now, if you tuned into our last episode on Lakewood, we talked about how much I don't like 2s for him. And this is where personal numerology really comes in heavy, because for Isaiah Rashad, being a Psychic 7, the use of 7 and 2 isn't actually that bad. It isn't actually that bad, especially considering that he has that number supplementarily, and also specifically the other numbers involved. So he has also a supplementary 8. He also has a supplementary 1. So there's these other numbers that are helping that energy of that 2 and that 7 be balanced. And also he sits within that pattern of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. He has that 1, that 5, and that 7, and then that supplementary 3 as well. So there's these just little things that are helping him out. So 2 and 7 is actually decent for him, because it sort of kind of amplifies what's already going on internally. And then when combining that 2 with something a little bit more external, like a 1 or a 3, that it allows it to actually go somewhere. So I really, really, really love these numbers. That 5, like I was saying, it adds a level of intellectual side. Hello? My mouth don't work no more. It adds an intellectual side, and it allows a wittiness, a desire to explore and entertain. So I'm not surprised that he's in the industry that he's in. Also, 5 is a number of change, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wakes up and feels like a brand new bitch every day. I would not be surprised if he's just shape shifting on a very regular basis, because 7 also does that. 7 is one that is in, rapid change and rapid transformation because it's so detached from everything. It also can be very rarely dissociated as well, but that's a conversation for another day. Probably gonna talk about it a little bit more in this episode. That name and number exalted one, love that so much because it puts him in a position where his name is very powerful. It also adds a level of protection for his 7 and his 5 because 1 is the most dominant number in regards to external spaces out of those 3 numbers. 1 is ruled by the sun, so it can, and also can be very protective, especially with that supplementary 2 and 8. 2 and 8 both reflect each other, so there's a potency in that exalted 1 that other numbers don't have because not every number will have supplementary numbers that reflect each other. So that 2 being ruled by the moon, 8 being ruled by Saturn, there's a vulnerability, there's a depth, there's an honesty that's being desired from this blend. So when it comes to his art, it's probably like, hey, look, I'm talking about shit. I'm just talking about shit. I'm talking about things I've experienced, people I've loved, communities, connections, just a bunch of different stuff, especially with those supplementary 2s. But I'm also talking about pain and hurt and things that Saturn can touch on as well. So it's a beautiful blend. I love that universal 2 year that he was born in. That 2 is simplified from a 20. And we talked about 2 and 0 together. 0 is ruled by Pluto, 2 is ruled by the moon, and that intensity that Pluto can add, but it also can destroy a little bit of that energy of that 2. But I would say that it's not doing as much on the destructive side because he has so many 2s in different supplementary places. Now, what I will say in regards to his best numbers, I would by far say 1, 3, and 7. I wouldn't want to put more 5 in there just because it could make that 7 a little overly hyper-focused and hyper-fixated on not necessarily the best things. It could just be like, oh, this problem, let's zoom in on that real quick. Let's zoom in and see every little detail. It would be too nitpicky, so I wouldn't really want to do that. Now, that 1 works great with 7 and 5 naturally. It's in multiple numerological patterns, so it works well with them. It adds, like I said, a level of protection because of its dominance. It can be very dominant and domineering, but in this case, I wouldn't say that it's taking too much control considering how 1 also sits in his psychic number. I'd also recommend 3 because he sits within that 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 pattern, and that 3 would be that missing piece per se. So I really like that, and I also really like 7s because that's true to his nature. Now, I would say I'd also like to point out that he is currently 32, so his destiny number 5 is in the front seat, whereas his psychic number 7 was in the front seat prior to his most recent release. So we're gonna get into that. So let's go ahead and look at these projects. I almost forgot my words right there, but we're not gonna talk about it. Okay, so listen, man. I've been trying to figure out how to pronounce this shit ever since I typed it. I want to say it's Sylvia Demo, but don't clock me if it's wrong. I'm dyslexic. So, I don't know. It might be something else, but we're going to go with Sylvia Demo. We're going to move on. It was released on January 28th, 2014, which was a Tuesday, given a psychic exalted 1 simplified from that 28, a destiny 9 simplified from 18, and a name number 8 simplified from 35. It was released in a universal pure 7 year and a personal 1/19 year, 1/19/10. So I really like this so far. Like, listen, 7, 8, and 9 are the final 3 digits in the pure numbers 1 through 9. And they have some of the most complexity. They're also typically the most misunderstood in regards to just how the numbers present themselves. And it's so cool when somebody who has one of those numbers natally puts those in a project because it just amplifies that power. I really do also like 9s for him, numerologically speaking. So I'm really kind of feeling that Destiny 9. Now, in regards to that supplementary 8 of the Destiny 9, I'm a little. Now, what I will say, one of the best things you can do as an artist is put your name number as the project number. So, because especially if it's your first project, it solidifies your name. It also gets your name out there, energetically speaking, and it works wonders. So, if we were to look at Sylvia's demo comparison to Isaiah Rashad's numbers, you'll see that Exalted Psychic 1 is the same as an Exalted Psychic 1 or Exalted 1 name number that he has. And that really is a great introduction. This was his first EP, I want to say. And that being the case, amazing. This is also released on a Tuesday. I don't know if I said that, but it's such dominant numbers. It's a great introduction. Now I will say with that name number 8, and also with 8 being dominant throughout all of the supplementary, or not all of the supplementary numbers, but all of the base numbers of this project, it also puts this in a position where it's gonna take some time. So I wouldn't say this is a project that he released and it immediately popped off. Those 8s, all those dominant 8s, because he doesn't have a lot of 8 energy dominantly in his numbers, his personal base numbers, it slows it down more than giving a foundation. Now, it does still give foundation. It does not change the fact that the foundation is there. It just takes a little bit more time for him to get somewhere. So in regards to the release itself, I really like this because it also puts him in a position where I would also say that he was digging deep within himself, trying to figure out who the fuck is Isaiah Rashad, especially with that psychic number being the exact same as that name number. It really works out for him, I will say. Again, with those 8s being ruled by Saturn, it sort of kind of just delays the success, basically, or delays just the outcome. Now, the Destiny 9 does say that it can get some traction, it can get some attention, it can get some movement. So I would say maybe later down the line, it might get some inspiration taken from, he might be somebody who takes inspiration from this project, might have some personal favorites off that project and be like, yeah, I need to come back to this because this was a part of me that I don't think that a lot of people gave enough love to, or I didn't give enough love to in some way, shape, or form. So let me go back and acknowledge that type shit. Now, also with the Psychic and Destiny reflecting each other, that 1 and 9 reflection, living for it. There's so many reflections in these numbers because also his base numbers do have a couple of reflections. There's a reflection between that 7 of that psychic number and that supplementary 3 of that destiny number. There's a reflection between that 2 and that 8. So there's a couple. So I would recommend some reflections for him. So the fact that he did it again here, actually kind of living for it. I would again say that I'm a little concerned about how many dominant 8s he used, but it's not bad. 8, so all of those 8s mixed with that 1 and that 9 and released on Tuesday, it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad, but it's also not that good. Just because of that delay. It was like I can tell that he probably put a lot of work into this, considering the personal year he was in, of the release. He probably put a lot of effort into this, like heart and soul type shit, and then putting all those 8s might have ended up him being a little disappointed with how things turned out once it came out. So I don't know actually how successful this project was, but yeah, I would give this, in regards to the numerological side, I'd give this probably like a 7 out of 10. This isn't bad, but the 8s definitely put in a position where it's not allowing it to get as much push as it absolutely could. Now, it is okay, considering the fact that he did keep releasing projects after this. It gives him a decent foundation considering how 8 works. Now, moving on to the Sun's tirade. Again, hopefully I'm saying that word right. Not completely confident in my ability to speak right now, but it's okay. This project was released September 2nd. I want to say that's September, July. Hold up. June, July, August, September. Yes, September. September 2nd, 2016. This is a Friday. Giving it a pure psychic 2, a destiny 2 simplified from a 20, and a name number minor exalted 3 simplified from a 48, and then a 12. That's why it's a minor exaltation, because that 12 is after that 48. Listen, man, this is a good one. This is a good one. I really like this. This was released in a universal pure 9 year and a personal 3/21 year. It eats. Oh, it eats. It eats so, it's so good. Now, we do still have a little bit of that 8 energy, which is beneficial in his case because it still nods to the previous release of that EP that came before this one. I don't know what he released in between these two projects, but the fact that we went from an EP to a full album, it's a good transition, numerologically speaking. I do actually enjoy the dominance of these twos, considering that it was also a Friday release, and also that personal 3 years simplified from a 21. I'm kind of living for it. Like, it eats, bro. It really does. Okay, so let me actually explain why it eats. So 2 is ruled by the moon, like we know. Now, a pure 2 versus a 20, or 2 simplified from a 20, it's going to be a little bit different, because you have that pure lunar energy of that 2, because it's ruled by the moon, versus a 2 simplified from a 20 is the moon and Pluto. So there's a little bit more complexity there. I love this because 2 highlights this creativity. It also highlights this desire for security, desire for safety, connection, community, care, nurturance, protection. Just, it's very much, I'm putting my heart and my soul out there. Y'all gonna take this shit. Ain't no take it or leave it. It's just take this shit. Especially with that name, Minor Exalted 3, it's very much you gonna take it. I don't give a fuck what you doing. You gonna take it, and you gonna like it. You gonna love it. You gonna fuck with it, and that's a wrap. Like, that's really what these numbers say, and I'm living for it. I'm really living for it, because now, with those 2s being the dominant number throughout all of the supplementary numbers, like, that's the pattern that happens. There's a 2 literally everywhere, at least a little bit. That highlights all of those 2 themes. So the balance, the flow, the fluidity, the honesty, the genuineness, the patience. Like, I can tell again that this project probably took some time, and in regards to the fact that he went from a personal 1 year, when that first project we discussed was released, to now a personal 3 year. Now he's in a reflected year, because he's a psychic 7, and I want to say his psychic number was still dominant at this time. That 7 reflects 3, and him being in a personal 3 year, this was going to be a very important year for him long term, especially. So the fact that he put some 3s throughout the project as well, in regards to that Minor Exalted 3, that I love that. I absolutely love it. Big ups to you, because that shit eats. I feel like this puts it in a position where this is a very raw album. Like, this is very much, we're just giving what I'ma give, and I'm hoping that y'all fuck with it type shit. Because also, like, 2 can be it's typically connected to intuition, and that this could have been one of those projects that he just let himself be him. Because also that honesty, and then the similar energy that 7 has. 7 can be honest. 7 can highlight those things. 7 can be vulnerable and introspective. So I feel like with this 2, the use of the 2 in regards to his natal numbers, it allows that introspective nature to actually be released in a sense. It's allowing it a level of illumination. Because if you think about how bright the moon is under like a full moon per se, it highlights that it shines bright as hell, first of all, and you can literally see it. Literally see the moonlight everywhere type shit. And I feel like that's really what these 2s are doing for him. It really allows that all of the internal work that he does, or just has done over the time, and just the internal space that he lives in with his numbers. I feel like these 2s really just allowed it to be like let this go, like a very much a release. And I absolutely love that. I absolutely love it. It works so good. That name number, Minor Exalted 3, that 48, love that, because 4 and 8, they don't reflect each other, but they do sit in a numerological pattern of 4, 8, because 4 is half of 8. So there's a little bit of importance there. Now, 4 in Pythagorean numerology, one of the common rulers that you'll see for 4 in Pythagorean is Saturn, actually. And in Chaldean numerology, 4 is ruled by Uranus in the North Node, and 8 rules Saturn. Now, I don't remember what Pythagorean deems as 8 off the top of my head, but the fact that you have quote-unquote double Saturn energy in this number, considering the previous 8s of the previous project, this is a very, very subtle nod to the past project. But with that energy of the 4 in Chaldean being Uranus in the North Node, it's like, I'm acknowledging what I've done, but I'm moving forward and I'm moving on. Listen, I love this shit. This is so beautiful, bro. And I also love a lot of the songs out this project. Like, this is so good, hands down 9 out of 10. And the relationality between his natal numbers you can tell how honest he was going into this. Like, he was like, I am bearing my fucking soul. And I love it. Okay. Child, I'm trying to get through this. Okay, The House is Burning. This came out July 30th, 2021, which was a Friday. This was also the first project that he put out with his Destiny number dominant, which is crucial because now we're not so focused on the use of that 7. We're more focused on the use of that 5, because those are his base numbers. So I would hope to see more 1s and 9s with this, and also some 3s. Not so much emphasis on 7, just because it's still true to who he is, but it's not who he's becoming type shit. So I'd probably want to put more emphasis on that 1, 3s, and 9s for a project as a dominant, with his dominant 5 in the front seat. So yeah, getting to these numbers, it was released July 30th, 2021, which is a Friday. This is a Psychic 3 simplified from a 30, that Destiny 6 simplified from a 15, and the name number 5 simplified from a 68/14. This is a Universal Pure 5 year and a Personal 8/17 year. Listen, man, these numbers is packing a punch. They are packing a punch. And a fat one at that. Like, this is a big ass punch. Like, it's swinging. It's not trying to play with nobody. That Psychic 3 is very much a hello, I'm here. Now, if we take a moment to recall his natal numbers, he's a Psychic 7, and 3 reflects 7. That numerological reflection is strong as a motherfucker. Strong as a motherfucker. Like, literally, two of my friends off the top of my head have that reflection natally of the Psychic and Destiny number. And these are some of the dopest people I've ever come across. So fucking smart, so intelligent, so creative as well. Like, they are some cool ass people. And I feel like the fact that he did this in the Psychic numbers puts it in a position where he was just like a nod to who I am, who I've been, who I've become, who I'm growing into. I really love that 3 because of that, especially with 3 being simplified from that 30. That has the blend of Jupiter and Pluto. It just amplifies how much, one, luck that 3 has, but also the optimism, the creativity, the ambition, the confidence. It's just like listen, man, I'm on my shit, deal with it, bitch. Like, y'all can do whatever y'all gonna do. I'm gonna stay doing what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna body it every single time. It's really what it says. Like, 3 is a very versatile number. It's very adaptable. It really likes to try a little bit of everything, so I wouldn't be surprised if this project is very diverse, not only in styles, but maybe lyricism, flow, even features. Like, this can just have a little bit of everything for everyone because of how 3 works. Now, considering the fact this project was released on a Friday, and it also has a Destiny 6, and there's also a supplementary 6 in that name number, there's also, again, an adaptability and a creativity, but also this versatility that's just like, I want to try a little bit of everything. I want to put my foot over here. I want to do what feels good, because 6 is very focused on feeling. So I absolutely love that blend of that 6. Now, what I will say, I do like this Destiny number. And the only reason why it works, because if it was a 24, which would be an exalted 6, it would be okay, but this Destiny 15 works a lot better, because not only does it have a 1, which is his name number, but it also has a 5, which is his Destiny number, which puts us in a position where this is something that he will probably be known for and remembered for long standing because of that blend. It eats. And then you have that name number 9, no, 5, simplified from that 68 and that 14. Oh my God, it's so nice. Now, I love 6 and 8 together because 6 and 8 are both material numbers. They like to feel things. They like tangible things. But 8 can be a little bit more on the spiritual side. 6 can also be spiritual, but it's a different side of spirituality, is what I will say. So it's an interesting blend, but I like it because 8 allows a different sense of grounding to 6. So 6 likes to feel things, yes, and it likes the material side of things, but 8 is more of like the physical body, the internal space per se. So like I wouldn't say Saturn rules over the bones if I'm not mistaken. So that very deep layer of self pulling you down type shit, and it helps. So I really do like that, again, because it's a subtle nod to previous projects with those 8s, and it's probably also a nod to harder times that he's experienced, things that he's come from, places that he's come from, vulnerability, depth, and all of those things that 8 touches on. That's the vibe that we're getting here with that supplementary 8 and that name number. It also has a name number or a minor supplementary 14. I love a good 14 because that 1 and 4 together is, again, powerful punch. 1 is ruled by the sun, 4 is ruled by Uranus in the North Node. So it puts you in a position where you are on go, whether you plan to sit down or not. It don't give a fuck. They're like, zoom, and that's it. Like, you just gotta strap in, try at least. Like, it's starting with whether you want it to start or not. Now, with that mixed with the other numbers, especially that Psychic 3, this project probably took off a lot larger than he thought it would. Now, considering that personal 8 year that he was in when this released, that was simplified from a 17. Now, again, nod to his psychic number with that 7, and then that 1 as well works really well with his natal numbers. It's that name number, exalted 1. Well, not exalted in this case, but it's the name number 1. So there's an emphasis on, listen, this is who I am at my core, and this is who I want to be. I want y'all to see me this way. This is how I want y'all to interact with me and stuff like that. Like, you can tell that this was going to be a very big album by these numbers, especially with that Psychic 3. Like, come on. It was gonna eat every time. I gotta give this I gotta give it like easily an 8 out of 10, maybe even a 9. The only reason why I don't want to say 9, because even though I did say everything positive about this album, the couple of concerning portions, well, no, it's not even concerning, because he do got that supplementary 6. No, actually, I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 because that Destiny 6, that 6 does sit supplementary in his psychic number. So again, like I said, I know I completely forgot I said this, nice subtle nod to who he used to be, like, or who he's grown up as type shit. I really like this. This is his projects, one, I love his art. It's always dope, so I already love it every time. I'm excited to see what's next, in all honesty, because he's currently in a personal 1 simplified from a 19 and a 10 year. This would be a great time to release. So I don't know. I don't keep up with celebrities. I just talk about their numbers and their projects. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what they be doing. I don't know if they be on fuck shit or none of that shit. I don't know. But what I will say is a personal 1 year is a great year to release a project, especially for him with that name number 1 and that Destiny 5. Ooh, I'd say go for it this year. If he has anything that he's thinking about dropping but not sure about dropping, I'd say 1, hit me up, and 2, you should do it this year. But I really like these numbers, but I ain't gonna hold you for too much longer. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you share your thoughts on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and tag me at YourSoLab or at numbers with Jacari. And this episode was inspired by my services, your personal numerology breakdown, and you and your career. Also, share this with the Isaiah Rashad fan and also Isaiah Rashad himself, because you're dope. So what else would you be doing? And then for the rest of my services, check it out on yoursolaboratory.com. But that's all I got for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.